In this lesson, we're going to learn how to create methods that have more than one parameter. In this case, two parameters, but this will hold for 3, 4, or 5 parameters. We're going to write a method that raises a number to a power. So we're going to call this method power. So we start off, the first thing we do is we would write public static int. It's going to be an integer function, integer method named power. And it's going to have two parameters, the base, which we'll call b, and the exponent, which we will call e, just to keep things simple. And so the way that works is we're simply going to write a for loop that multiplies b times itself however many times is specified in e, since that's what raising a number to a power is. So we're going to first of all create a product variable, which we'll set to 1. Then we're going to say for int I equals 1, I less than or equal to e, plus plus I, in other words, increment I by 1 each time, product is equal to product times the base. And then our return value will be whatever that product is. Now, before we use this method in our program, let's talk about how we're going to call the method. Because it has two parameters, we have to call it with two arguments, and the arguments have to match. In other words, the first argument has to be an integer, and the second argument has to be an integer. So there have to be two arguments, and they have to match in data type. So right here we can say int result equals power base exponent. And then we'll just write out the result. Like that. Keep it very simple. So the first thing we want to do is compile the program. It compiles with no errors. So let's try it. So 2 raised to the third power is indeed 8. Let's change our arguments just to make sure it works correctly. Let's do 4 to the fourth power. Compile it, and then close, and then run. And 4 to the fourth is indeed 64. So let's take a look at our example again. We have our method is power, so it's an integer method, so that's the value it's going to return, or the data type of the value it's going to return is int. The name is power, and we have two parameters, b and e, both integers. Notice we use a comma to separate the two in the parameter list. Then our body simply performs a for loop, and we multiply the base times itself for however many times is specified in the second parameter, e. And then after we've finished the loop, then we return the result, which is our variable product. Down in the program, our method call, which I'm highlighting right now, has two arguments, base and x for exponent, and notice they're also separated by a comma. The first argument, base, maps into the first parameter b, and the second argument exp maps into the parameter e. And that's how we work with methods of multi-parameters.